All right, let's get started. We are in Lecture 10 in Engineering 102, and this is Monday, and what happens on Wednesday? We celebrate. We have a celebration of learning. We have our first exam on Wednesday. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be going through a couple of things. I'm going to be going through, obviously, logistics here on the announcement slide. I have an exam review I would like to go through with you, including some hints and some suggestions for doing well on that exam. I have developed a Exam 1 practice exercise if you would like to go through it. But I also get the feeling that I might get some questions on Assignment 5, or the assignment for Week 5. As of just now, I still have 53 students that haven't submitted it yet, which is a little concerning because this is the first time. I mean, usually by the time we get to this point, most of you have submitted it, and so the fact that I have so many that haven't suggests there might be some questions about it. So what I'm going to do is, after I go through my spiel, I'm going to sort of turn it over to you. If you want to work on the practice exercise, you can. But if you would also like to work on the Week 5 assignment, you can do that as well. Remember, it's due at 5 p.m. today. Okay. Week 4 is still being graded. It should be posted either today or tomorrow. I checked, about half of them are already graded, so I'm guessing that'll be graded between now and the exam. I don't have a homework for you this week because of the exam, so we're not going to have a homework in here until Wednesday, February 21st. Okay, so you'll have this homework, the one you have now that's due today. After that, you're free for a week on homework. Does that sound good? You want me to give you a homework? Okay, that's what I thought. All right. By the way, I'm going to go through the exam review in some detail, but while I'm here, I wanted to mention, because I'm going to go through this and then I'll stop and let you all do your thing, but I do have every handout from every lecture up until now with me. So if you are missing one and you would like it, let me know. Okay? So I'll go through that here in a little bit. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the review for the exam. The first thing I want to do is I want to go through logistics. So I want you to understand what the exam's going to be like, how it's going to be formatted, what to expect, etc. Okay? So first off, let's go through the operation and approved materials on the exam. So the way the exam's going to work is it's going to be very much like an in-class exercise. It's going to be covering all the AutoCAD skills that we've covered to date. What's going to happen is, so this is the 11 a.m. section. At 11 a.m. there's going to be a link that opens on Blackboard for you to be able to upload a drawing. No plots, just a drawing. Okay, you're just uploading your DWG file. You can upload as many times as you want, but come like right at 11:50, that link's going to shut off. Okay, so because I've got another section coming in at 12 p.m. Okay, so you need to make sure that you have your drawing saved and uploaded by then. Okay. Now the exam is not designed to be time critical. Okay. I typically use a rule of 3 when I'm making an exam, and for this one, it's probably going to be more like a rule of 4. And what that means is that if I can do the exam in 20 minutes, you can do the exam in 60 minutes. Okay. So I use a rule of 3, and probably in here it'll be a rule of 4. So I'll probably I'll take the exam myself, and I'll probably try and shoot for getting the exam done in about 10 minutes. So if I can get it done in 10 minutes, you can certainly get it done in like 40 or 50 minutes. Okay, that's the rule I've always used. It seems to work pretty well. Okay, for the exam, open notes. I don't care. Bring whatever you want. Okay, so if you want to bring all the handouts, you bring any and all handouts you like. And I've got extras up here in case you need them. I'm going to mention something about those handouts here in a sec, but bear with me. That'll make sense. Okay, now I want eyes up here. I want to see right here. Do not forget your laptop. Do not forget your laptop charger. Do not forget a mouse. Okay? I can't do anything about that. Okay? So if you don't have your laptop, you don't have your charger, don't have your mouse, that's on you. Okay? I can't do anything about that. So bring them. Sound good? Sure. Okay. All right. It'll begin at 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. and last for 50 minutes. So I'm beginning at 11. So be here. Be on time with your laptop open, ready to go. Okay? If you're late, that's on you. Okay? I can't really give you any extra time because I've got another section coming in at 12 o'clock. And I can't give them any more time because I got a section coming in here at 1 o'clock. So we got to keep on moving. Okay? The only other thing that I'll mention is this is my practice that I'm going to give you all today. I am going to do my absolute best to restrict the instructions to as few pages as possible. I'm going to try and make this not a page turning exercise. That's not to say you won't have to turn a little bit between the instructions and the resulting drawing, but I want to minimize that as much as possible because I am just trying to assess your ability to use the software. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay? Now, what I have here in this section of the presentation are the commands for the first exam. So I wanted to give you a hey, here it is, summary of all the commands that we've used so far that would be useful for the exam. Okay? So first off, drawing setup and initialization. So if you want to define the units for the file, they use the units command. And by the way, this entire presentation is on Blackboard right now under week 6. Okay? So there's nothing here that you already don't have access to. If you want to define the limits of the drawing area, use the limits command. The layer command can be used to create layers and assign line types, and to be able to create and assign fonts, you use the style command. Okay? Make sure that you can set up the drawing grid and the grid snap features. That's when you right-click those buttons down below and hit settings. And again, we will not be plotting on this exam. So no need to use the plot command. Okay? All right. These are the greatest hits on object creation and editing. So for object creation, I have lines, circles, rectangles, polygons, ellipses, arcs, polylines, hatches, and multi-line text. Okay? And I have all the keyboard shortcuts for those right there. Okay? For commands for editing, okay, I have move, copy, rotate, scale, mirror, offset, trim and extend, fillet and chamfer, and then the array commands. Okay? Try to put it all on one slide. Here it is. Okay? For including precision in your drawings, you use the hashtag to draw in absolute coordinates, use the @ sign to draw in relative coordinates. And if you use the @ in combination with the less than sign, that'll draw in polar coordinates. Okay? Some other miscellaneous useful commands, so like using the delete key or the erase command will delete an object. If you want to undo the last command, you use U, or you can hit Control-Z or Command-Z for you Mac folks. To terminate a command or to unselect objects, you press the Escape key. To pan around the drawing, you can use the mouse wheel, like press in the mouse wheel, or you can use the letter P for pan and press enter. And modifying an object's properties is in the properties window. So either prop or PR or what have you will bring that up. Okay. Using the mouse in AutoCAD, make sure that you're familiar with using that. Left button is for selecting objects, right button is for bringing down the drop-down menu. Remember, the mouse wheel can be used to zoom, and if you click the mouse wheel, it will pan. Okay? Press and hold will pan. Double-clicking the mouse wheel will zoom extents, will bring all the objects that are unfrozen into view. Okay? Everybody good so far? Okay. Selecting objects. Remember, if you select and drag to the left, you get a crossing selection. So if it touches the window, it's selected. If you select and drag to the right, that is a window selection. So window selection, the entire object has to be encapsulated within the window to be selected. For the crossing selection, it's just got to touch the window and it's selected. Okay, and if you're, you can always press the escape key to unselect. Okay, and if you click and hold, that'll do the lasso. Okay, everybody good so far? Now here's Dr. Mike's tips and tricks for exam 1. Okay, this is my advice for all of you after having been your instructor for the last 9 lectures. This is the stuff that I'm seeing since I've been your instructor, and this is for you. Okay, I want everybody to take heed. Okay, first off, do not forget to bring your laptop and your laptop charger. Okay, and also don't forget your mouse. Okay, I'm saying it again. Okay, I cannot emphasize that enough. Second, please save your drawing often during the exam. And make sure to save it one last time before you upload. Okay? I have set the link up to upload an unlimited number of times within that time window. Okay? Within that window. Alright? So I don't have a problem if you upload at 11:40 and then upload again at 11:45. I'm going to grade the last one. But make sure that you're saving regularly. Okay. One thing I think you should, or a couple things I think you should be proficient in is selecting objects, and I do think you need to be proficient in drawing and with using either absolute or relative precision. Between the two, what do I think is most important? Relative precision. I think that is just more useful and more important, okay? I'm not saying you won't use absolute precision, but as you know, and as you will see on this practice sheet for today, some of these are explicit in terms of what you need to draw, and some of them aren't. And when you're given the freedom to draw an object however you would like, relative precision does tend to be a lot more useful, okay? So make sure that you're proficient in it. The escape key is your friend, okay? If you're in the middle of a command and you're in the zone and your command's not working the way it wants, tap the escape key a few times to get back into drawing operation mode, okay? All right? Remember, the escape key is your friend. You cannot break anything by hitting the escape key 100 times, okay? One thing, pay attention to the command line when executing commands. So, like, this has been happening like with a lot of our editing commands. Like, for example, I have students who are doing a fillet command. They're like, I don't know how to do the radius. Well, look at the command line. It literally says press R and press enter for radius. Or for chamfers, type the letter D and press enter for distance. Or you can click the distance box down there if you're in Windows. Like, if you're having trouble specifying, some objects or some things in the command line, like, read the command line. It'll tell you what to do, okay? So please make sure that you're following along with that. Another thing, make sure you know how to turn on and off grid snap, and make sure you know how to turn on and off object snap, okay? Like, a lot of times, I'll see you all get frustrated with, it's not clicking to the line, or it is clicking to the line and I don't want it to. Like, turn those on and off. You can turn those on and off at will, okay? So that's, if you right-click the grid icon and hit settings, that's where you can turn grid snap on and off. And then that button right there on the bottom right is how you turn object snap on and off. You are the drafter. You can turn those on and off at will, okay? So make sure you know how to do that. Okay. If the escape key is your friend, editing commands are your best friend, okay? You can get a lot of things done a lot faster with editing commands. And these bullets come right from that last presentation, so I just copy and pasted it. Okay? Consider what order you decide to draw objects in. So I'll give you an example. A lot of folks were the stop sign on this homework. They were drawing the stop sign and rotating it and then trying to put the text in. It's like, why don't you put the text in and then rotate it so you rotate it all at the same time? You see what I mean? So consider the order that you're drawing things in. You can always draw a single object and then copy or offset it, okay? You can always draw additional content that you do not need and then trim away what you don't, okay? Trim away what you don't need. You can always draw objects in an arbitrary position and move them where they need to go. You can always draw objects and rotate them once they're finished. You can always use fillets and chamfers because sometimes those are a lot easier than polylines. And my last point, this is an open notes exam. I have no problem if you bring a quote-unquote formula sheet, okay? Or what I mean by a formula sheet, maybe a command list, okay? Now, some of you might be asking, well, will you give us a command list? No, I won't, okay? And the reason I'm not going to give you a command list is because, one, you've got all the tools and resources necessary to make one, but two, I never make formula sheets in my class for my students because the process of making a formula sheet is studying. Like, if you actually go through the process of organizing your thoughts and categorizing them into a formula sheet, you are studying. It's sort of a way of studying. I can't tell you how many times I've seen students go through the effort of making a formula sheet, then they're taking an exam, they don't even look at it. Because they went through the effort of putting that stuff in their head by making the formula sheet. Again, this is an open notes exam, you can make one. Go right ahead. Okay? Any questions? So here's what I'm going to do for the rest of lecture. Okay? I have a drawing practice sheet that I'm going to pass around. Okay? If you would like, this would be a good exercise to go through here today because this is representative of what's going to be on the exam. Admittedly, it might be a little shorter than what's on the exam because I expect it to be up here talking for 15 minutes. So I'm thinking you only have like 30 minutes to do this, so the actual exam might be a little longer. but it's not going to be a lot longer than this. Okay? This is about what you would expect on the exam. Okay? In terms of difficulty, in terms of scope. Okay? So I'm going to pass this around for everybody to practice on. The other two things I will do is, again, we have a lot of students that have not yet turned in homework 5, so I will be going around seeing if anybody has any questions on homework 5. And then the third thing is I brought extra copies of every single handout we've had since the semester started. So if you are missing one, I have extras. Sound good? All right, I'm going to pass these handouts around, and the floor is yours. And by the way, if anybody has any general questions throughout this, I mean, we're keeping this pretty loose. If you got something you want me to bring up here and show, I didn't get any responses to that Teams post, but if you have anything you want to look at as a class, let's do it. So.